Welcome to the Sweet Subversives podcast.
And welcome back to
Yay!
Sweet Subversives. Hi, Kara.
Yeah, long time no see.
Long time no see, right?
I think it's been two days,
2 days,
3 days.
Since we had a mega convention.
Yeah, my days have kind of blurred.
I think everybody's has. It's been a wonderful feeling, though. I feel like good things have happened.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we have had really, really good things happen. So, of course, the big news is we had the first portion of the convention, and we picked our vice presidential and presidential candidates for the Libertarian Party.
Yes.
So we have Spike Cohen, who is our vice presidential candidate. And then for our presidential candidate, we have the wonderful,
the fabulous Jorgensen. Woo!
And we are so excited to be able to speak with her tonight. I was lucky to meet her in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah.
At their state convention, and I was very excited. Extremely impressed with her. So yeah, but I don't want to go on too long. I know we have her on the line, so
I'm going to bring her right on.
Bring her in.
I am so excited. Here we go. Here comes Joe. Yay!
That's the best introduction ever. And Cara, weren't you at the California State Convention as well?
Yes.
I think I sat next to you at the banquet.
Yes, we did. Yeah. So, I feel like I got super lucky. And I also wanted to tell you, so we went out to dinner in Nebraska, and my mom was with me, and it was great. Everyone made her feel super welcome and all that kind of stuff. And when she heard that you are our nominee, she was super excited and happy. So
that's awesome.
So you got the mom seal of approval. So, if Celine says vote for you, y'all better vote for her.
Exactly. And Kara's mama knows a few things, so I listen to her.
That's right.
Well,
exactly.
I'm just going to post this up. Congrats, Joe!
Yay!
People are so excited for you. I'm so excited, Madam President, to have you here on our show. Yes,
very excited. So we are thrilled, super thrilled. And so one thing that we do at the top of our show is we usually have a drink. Sometimes they're alcoholic, sometimes they're non-alcoholic. It just depends on the status of crying of our livers. And then so sometimes it's tea and toast, So Heather, what do you got going tonight?
I'm doing my summer special. Just for Joe, I'm doing gin and tonics today with, I already have my ice in it, and I like lime. Lime, it's very healthy. And from New Orleans, I have my El Guapo tonic syrup. So it's got a little extra kick. So I'll put that in there first. Delicious.
Nice.
And then I do, of course, a little gin in here. And I'm using a very cheap gin, New Amsterdam special.
It's respectable. It's respectable.
I like this one. This one's good. It goes with everything. And diet tonic water, because we all are watching our weight during this coronavirus stuff. So we need to not go too crazy on calories.
Yeah, so, we're in Minnesota, so our gyms are never going to open here.
Ever.
I was going to say the quarantine 15, huh?
Yes, the COVID-19. Yeah, however you want to.
The 19. I think my body was being really literal. It's like 19 pounds. Okay, we'll do that.
So, do you have a drink, Joe?
I have bourbon.
Bourbon! Yay!
In my Waterford glass, in fact.
Very beautiful.
My daughter gave me the glass. It's so pretty.
It is beautiful and elegant.
So, in honor of you, I'm going to attempt to drink bourbon.
Oh no.
never had bourbon before?
I struggle with the yellow liquors, probably because when I was in college one night, I decided to drink a bottle of whiskey, but for my chaser, I used grape Bubblicious.
Ooh.
I would do a shot and then I would chew some grape Bubblicious.
That seems like blasphemy.
It was a bad night. It was a bad night.
That's dreadful.
So I struggle it, but cheers to your nomination.
Yes, congratulations.
Oh God.
my business partner asked me, I'll wait till you can hear. My business partner asked me, can you teach me how to drink bourbon so it doesn't taste like something that cleans my car battery?
Oh, wow.
I just love the flavor. I don't know what to tell you.
Wow.
I like bourbon, but that
okay.
looks like it didn't go well.
I brought a backup drink. Because
I'm glad you tried, though. That was brave.
That was rough, man.
And noble.
You were a tough lady.
And there's no ice in it either. I just drink
Good Lord.
God.
That woman is tough right there. I like that. But, you know, I heard something that made me think she's the most tough human being ever at the convention this weekend. I had heard that you might have played some hockey.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of from your neck of the woods. I grew up north of Chicago. I grew up on a lake. And in fact, my dad was a cement contractor. And what he would do is he would go down there at night and, saw a hole in the ice.
Yeah.
And then use his compressor to bring the water out so that it would smooth at night. Because, during the day, the waves would freeze.
Yeah.
And so then he would go there and smooth it out so that we could play hockey during the day when it was nice and smooth.
Dang. So what age did you start playing hockey?
Gosh. I mean, not till high school, really, but I started ice skating when I was little. And, I literally grew up on the lake, and during the winter, we would take a shortcut by walking across the lake to get to the school.
Oh, yeah. Whereas
when it was summertime, you'd walk down, another road. So, yeah, but no, I really didn't. I started really getting into hockey more as an adult. I don't know why. I think it was just I moved down south, and I guess I was just homesick or something, and that's what brought me home. But
well, we are the state of hockey, so
yeah. There you go.
We are the state of hockey.
And you broke some teeth? Is that right?
My nose. I got
nose.
Now, and I didn't have time for all the details. This was actually roller hockey instead of ice hockey. But
oh my God,
that's even better.
I love you even more.
Well, that's what a sports doctor, medicine, sports surgeon, whatever, told me that roller hockey is actually more dangerous than ice hockey because somehow how the boot fits, you're more likely to break your leg or something. So I don't know. But I got high sticked, and the bone was sticking out the side of my nose, which luckily I didn't wear glasses at the time except for sunglasses, but I couldn't wear sunglasses because it hurt when it hit the bone. And finally, it took me a year or two. I finally got around to having a plastic surgeon fix it, but I've had a plastic surgeon fix my nose, I think twice. But when I went back, and I had 2 young daughters at the time, and when I went back, a couple months later, and I told them how I got high sticked, and one of the guys was like, "You didn't get high sticked. Look at your jersey," because it was a Blackhawks jersey. It was white, with the emblem. And I said, "I'm also a mother, and I know protein stains you clean with cold water." So
I know a few things, sir.
Exactly. Did you see? And you have to do that. Well, actually,
dear Lord, no. I have to show this really quick because it totally fits with what we're just talking about. Because I saw a meme that reminded me of you. Let's see, there it is.
I've been enjoying all the Joe Jorgensen memes.
So
Yes.
someone put your face on a hockey player, but I said on the side, disclaimer, not a real photo of Joe Jorgensen. She would probably be wearing a Blackhawks jersey.
Exactly.
Not a Canadian team like the Oilers.
Yes.
but I do know enough about Canada to know it's called the Canada Goose, not the Canadian Goose.
That's
So
absolutely right.
But thank you for that. That's awesome.
We have been loving the memes coming out. In fact, there's a whole group that is just Joe Jorgensen's dank meme stash.
Well, I really liked the ones with me and Joe Biden, like Joe for president and Joe. Have you seen those?
Yeah, those are super funny.
And they told me we were going to have to get rid of Just Say Joe or something when the campaign team started because there was Joe Biden. And I said, no, we need to take advantage of it. And be, not your average Joe or the better Joe or something like that. Like let's make a play on the fact that we've got two Joes running. And then somebody, of course, the free market. What can you say? Free market is awesome. Right. Somebody came up with a great meme that I hadn't even thought of. Joe for president with sniffing versus me.
Oh, I have loved the memes of and I should find this meme, but it is fantastic. And so it's Biden trying to sniff your hair, and then it shows him getting hockey checked right into the boards, and it is beautiful. Love it. Love that one.
Yeah, I've done a few body checks.
I love that.
Yes, Dr. Joe, not Joe. Yes, exactly.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
Now his wife is Dr. Jill, so there's going to be something there too with another Dr. J thing going on. But I'm not creative enough to come up with something.
Don't worry, you have all of the libertarian trolls and warriors that are coming to help. So
they've already started. It's amazing.
Poor Caitlin is probably being absolutely swamped.
Yes. She's going to have to go from part-time to full-time if she hasn't already. So
absolutely. Well, it's been nice seeing you shape up your campaign team and fill it out further. So that's wonderful. I'm seeing some pretty nice people coming under your banner, very talented. So very exciting, watching everything get set and all that kind of stuff. So is it moving at warp speed?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's great that I've got some people who have worked out. Well, here's what's really kind of odd is I'm so excited that Nick Dunbar joined the team. Uh-huh. I remember meeting Nick back in the early 90s. I think I was running for U.S. House back then. It was before I was nominated for VP. And it was like, I can't believe, Nick, I knew you back when it was just like two guys in the office. It was him and Mark Montoni. And I think those were the only, like the whole LP staff, I think was just those two, besides maybe the chair and the executive director. But they were the only two there like during the day, because every time I'd go there, it was just them two. And it's like, gosh, from the olden days, here we are,
I know. Yeah. So no, you are definitely getting some cream of the crop heading into your campaign. So we are beyond excited. We were definitely toasting when you won, although that was a pretty long day. I know that was a long, grueling day for you as well, going through the balloting process and all that kind of stuff. But man, that was a good way to end that day. That was pretty spectacular.
It was. And I can't wait till we can see everybody in person again.
I know.
Yes, that will be a pretty good thing. Looking at hockey and yes, Minnesota is the state of hockey, although currently we are the state of some pretty heavy protests going on right now. Mm-hmm. We're in the second day of protests, and they actually look a little more active. We'll put it that way. A little more active today. For our viewers who are under a rock and don't know what's going on. 2 days ago, I believe it was 2 days ago, George Floyd died, and he died while in custody of police. It appears that he may have died on the scene at the street and was pronounced later. There are reports now from a person who accompanied him in the ambulance, who was the volunteer firefighter, or not volunteer, but off-duty firefighter, who said he did not have a pulse when he was in the ambulance already. And so yesterday sparked protests. Yes, the 4 officers involved were fired. But the feeling is amongst protesters that's not adequate. Like, that's a good start, but that's not adequate. And so last night started as a peaceful protest, and then it went from there. I mean, there was damage. People were very angry. Rubber bullets. I have honestly never seen that much tear gas deployed anywhere. Wow. And I've been in the military. Yeah. I've never seen that much tear gas. I know they were firing the 40 millimeter sponges and beanbags. They were doing the rubber bullets. They were doing batons, and rocks were being thrown, property damage, different things like that. But it started early today, and it has kept going. So I know you have followed this a little bit. I saw you did put out just a brief statement on Facebook, but I wanted to ask you, yes, a little bit about this situation, but more about how should the state, in this case, police and that type of thing, be interacting with residents? If you could wave your libertarian wand, right? How would you reform our criminal system? We'll leave courts aside.
Okay.
We'll just focus on the street criminal justice.
Well, first, I'd like to make the one big point, which is that police is a local level issue. And so it's something that the federal government really should not be involved in. Now, that doesn't mean that the federal government shouldn't step in if somebody's rights are being violated, but it looks like they're handling this okay. Not only have they been fired, but it looks like they're going to be brought, possibly, charges brought against them. So the good news is, at the federal level, this is something that, and I'm really big on the federal government staying out of the business of individuals, and sometimes, and the states, of course, when that's appropriate. So, but the biggest problem is we just have too many laws. And if we would just get rid of the drug laws, that would just free up so much time. And, one of the problems with the drug laws is that we've got people, and I always said, I got through the 1970s, high school and college, never having tried pot, but I liked the taste of alcohol. And I remember saying, it's just not fair. I get my drug of choice. Why shouldn't they get their drug of choice? That was just such a sense of injustice, even though that wasn't my injustice. But if we would get rid of these drug laws, people who just simply want to buy pot, just like people back in the 20s wanting to buy bourbon, became criminals and came in contact with the criminal element. And so now we've got a burgeoning, enterprise going on. And so if we would just scale back on that and just have the police do what they're supposed to do. And you think about it, when you see cop cars everywhere, what do you see? Serve and protect, cares, that kind of stuff. That's what they should be doing, going around, getting to know the neighbors, getting to know the neighborhood watch, to fight the real criminals and not fight these made up crimes. And also a lot of these protests are because we're being ordered under house arrest to stay in our homes because, we're not allowed to go to work. So what do you expect? People don't want to be told to stay home when we supposedly live in a free country.
It does feel like we're in a kind of a powder keg situation. If ever there was a situation where you just needed a spark for things to go off, that's what we're at. You have people unemployed. You have people feeling like they can't access services such as going to AA meetings or different things like that they would normally do. They don't have their support systems, meaning visiting friends and family. People are cut off, and there's a constant pressure. Plus, people have all kinds of concerns. They have economic concerns, and they have health concerns over what's happening. They have civil rights concerns. They have all of these pressures on them. And then we have an incident like this take place. And
and can I mention, I teach social psychology at Clemson, one of my classes. Intro's my favorite class to teach. I teach the huge auditoriums, like 250 students at a time. When these debates came around and people are like, aren't you nervous getting in front of all these people? I'm like, heck, this is only half the size of my classroom. You think debate crowds are a tough audience. You try college students, So,
I hear you. I work in a college too, and I appreciate everything that you do.
I love it. It's the best job ever. So, but here's the thing. I teach social psychology, and one thing that I teach is that, we talk about people being loners, and especially if somebody, lashes out, there's, he was such a loner. Actually, we have virtually no loners because evolutionarily our loners are gone. They're genetically gone, because if you were a loner, then you were typically cast aside, or at least you didn't mate because you didn't like being around other people, and your genes died out. So we are very much social animals. And I also have a master's in drug and addiction studies. These people, the people who go to AA, and by the way, those are maintenance groups, they really need that camaraderie. Yes. And once again, they look at the death rate of this virus, which is on par with the flu. And now let's look at death rates from, drug overdoses or alcoholism or, starving or malnutrition because you can't work at your job. I mean, there are more ways to die other than the coronavirus. And what upsets me is that it's the politicians making those choices rather than us. And if you want to self-quarantine, like my mom should not be out among people, and she's not. She has her friends and neighbors, bring groceries to her and stuff. Great. But the rest of the people should be allowed to leave unless they show symptoms. And that, then that gets back to the testing, that not enough testing was done, and the FDA wouldn't approve it. Out of the 60 tests that were invented, for lack of a better word, they only approved 2 of them. So now we've got all these people who can't get tested because the FDA, once again, is an obstacle. The FDA is supposed to help make us safer, and yet we're less safe.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every step along this way, when there's this dividing tree of could a decision be made to alleviate the situation or make it better, or could it make it worse or block things? You look at the decision making tree that a lot of people in our different levels of government have made, and they've just unerringly taken that branch to interfere or make it worse or block things, or I don't even know if you could roll dice and hit that many crappy ones. Like you would have to roll something else. But we are not rolling nat 20s. We're rolling snake ice. Like that's what we're rolling.
That's a good point. Pretty much every junction they take the wrong way. And even a stopped analog clock is right twice a day. I know everybody who's under the age of 30 does not understand that, but for those of us over the age of 30, even a stop clock is right twice a day, and that has not been the government. I can't think of 2 times they've been right.
No. And in our state, what we also have is we have a state policy where they want to keep hospital beds open, which I understand. And so the policy is when people are recovering, when they have recovered enough that they don't need intensive hospital care, they are placing them in nursing homes. And so we have 82% of our deaths in Minnesota are in long-term care facilities. Yeah. And just today, our commissioner of health in the state and our governor have said, that's our plan.
Right.
It was not a mistake. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And we saw it didn't go over well in New York. How about let's learn from New York's mistakes?
Yeah. Learn from other mistakes.
Right. So we've got the most vulnerable population. I know. Let's put the sick people with the vulnerable people. And Kara, you mentioned the hospitals. You go back to healthcare. Okay, so why aren't there more hospital beds and clinics? Part of it is because of the government. Once again, the certificate of need laws that prevent people from building new clinics and hospitals without permission. So if the government weren't there stopping the hospitals from being built, then we would have more. So once again, they think they're fixing they try to fix one problem and they've created 10 other problems.
Well, and the certificate of need also covers things like, ventilators and other diagnostic equipment. So it artificially limits the number and what facilities can have it based on geographical areas. So
yeah, and by the way, somebody just pointed out to me, I guess I never thought about this, that the acronym is CON laws. It's like, okay, government, maybe you shouldn't advertise that you're conning people with the con laws. And I don't know if you realize this, but the Department of Education, when they first came up with the name, they were going to call it the Department of Public Education. And they called it that for a little while until somebody said, wait a minute, you guys realize what that spells. And so then they said, okay, we'll get rid of the public part.
I don't know. I think they kind of nailed it there, though.
They did. They really did.
They're really bad with the acronyms.
Yeah, you got to think those through. So when we're talking about libertarian solutions, one area to look at is, what is a libertarian solution for how we have a clean environment?
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for that. Well, first of all, I'd like to point out that if you take out a globe of the world and you look, you identify where you've got bigger government, where you've got smaller government, and then you overlay the actual pollution, what you see is wherever there's more government, there's more pollution. Where there's less government, there's less pollution. So right there, that tells you you're onto something. And what we have right now is we've got basically a government that gives us what's called tragedy of the commons, in which is kind of like everybody's and nobody's. And a lot of people say, well, we can't turn over, for instance, national parks or whatever. We can't turn over parks to private individuals. Well, let's look at how well like Disney World is kept up and clean compared to a government-run place. And the one thing I like to point out, and again, for those of you who don't know tragedy of the commons, basically if you've got a place where the government owns it, there's no long-term interest for any one person to try to keep it going. And so if we look at, and this has something to do with the environment, but extinct tigers or lions, elephants, how poachers are after the elephants for their tusks and all that. And we keep hearing, these awful poachers, we've got to get the government to do something. Well, it's the government that's actually causing that problem, because those people are poaching on government lands and nobody really has a vested interest. And the example I give, especially to younger people, is I ask them, have you ever heard of a farmer going out back and taking out a gun and, let's say, shooting all of his cows and saying, wow, really had a good haul today, No. Go out there, shoot all your pigs. Look at all the, look at today's haul. No, what you do is you only kill a couple of them at a time, and you keep breeding them to make sure they continue on. But with the government, we've got the elephant, since nobody gets the benefit of it, nobody's taking care of them.
Right. Yeah. Well, and there's also a difference between areas that you consider really the commons and the concept of government-owned property. In Minnesota, when we talk about public parks, what we really mean is government-owned parks,
right.
and you may be able to use them in very small, select ways, only in ways that we say is okay. In Colorado, they have something closer to looking at property as a common property, meaning, yes, everyone kind of owns it. And so the restrictions on use are very, very little. It's basically, you can't just build a structure on there, but you will see people pull over, which to a Minnesotan is the most bizarre thing to ever see. You will see someone pull over and they will just take off hiking and climb a rock. And so for Minnesotans, we look at that and we're like, why is there not a police person stopping them? My God, there's no ropes on there and they could fall, and they just parked their car and they walked out there and then they pitch a tent, which again, we're like, did they get a permit? So
exactly.
So
I love this idea, though, that you could just go do anything. I mean, pretty much within reason, because it's yours too.
Right. And, but that's like these steps in between of, how you view things. Oh, yeah. We have Facebook users laughing at how I say Minnesota.
Minnesota.
I love that. Well, and if you don't mind my bringing up another example,
sure.
Because a lot of people look at, the greedy corporations, which, by the way the corporations get to be, maybe they started off greedy, but the way they get their power is through big government. But we look at the Gulf of Mexico spill, the oil spill from years back here. And people have said, see, if it weren't for the government, then people would just be, doing that. We just have oil spills all over all over the place. Here's the problem, though. The government had capped the liability so that if there was an oil spill, they didn't have to, they weren't held accountable for the full amount. So if it were the free market, they would have had to have bought insurance. And one of two things would have happened. First of all, the insurance company might have come out and said, you know what, this is just too dangerous. You can't drill or you can't carry, whatever. You can't have oil here because it's just too dangerous. And they couldn't have afforded to because they would have gone out of business. Or the insurance company would have said, okay, you can drill here, but we're going to come out here a month because we want to make sure that you're safe, because we don't want to pay out any claims. And so you've got the free market, you've got the insurance company who, is greedy, but in this case, or actually in all cases, greed, I hate to say like the 1987 movie, but greed is good. Yeah, greed is good as long as it's not coercive. So for the insurance companies to say, we don't want to pay out money if there's an oil spill, they're watching it like a hawk to make sure nothing goes wrong because they don't want to pay out a claim. Now, does government care if there's an oil spill? Nah. And if the government has to pay any money, well, we'll just tax the taxpayers more. We'll just collect more money. And if you don't mind, and now this is kind of off the topic of the environment. But since we're talking greedy insurance companies, I saw this great story. It was one of these, news magazine type shows, or maybe it was the news, I don't know, where there was this intersection, I believe it was in Texas, which was having so many car accidents. Finally, the insurance bureau, whatever, the insurance companies went out there and they were like, what is going on here? And they figured out that when people were turning left, and especially if there was a truck in front of you, you couldn't see that the light was turning red. And so they figured out how to change it to keep people from having so many accidents, because again, they don't want to pay out money. So because they wanted a profit, now they stopped a huge number of car accidents. Whereas the government, what do they care if they keep having, accidents? I mean, yeah, it costs some police time, but they're not losing money. They're not paying out claims. So the insurance company actually did a better job than the government because they had something at stake. And that's the good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. When we look at, again, looking at my roads, and we place speed limits on them and different things like that. And one thing I don't understand is we understand the psychology and combined with the engineering of when we visually see something, we have certain cues on how safe we feel to drive at a certain speed limit. And yet we build roads that visually tell us a different story than what the posted speed limit is. And I always wonder, why do we have that disconnect? So with your background, and again, that's more of a local issue, but however, with your background, are those areas something that you could assist with in saying, we are creating a system that tells people to do the exact opposite of what we wish them to do?
Yeah, in fact, that is covered under the field. And by the way, my field is industrial organizational psychology, deals with companies. This is actually under sensation and perception. And we do have a simulated driving lab at Clemson, and they do tests like that. And one of the professors there has done research on night driving. And basically, people become too confident in their ability to drive at night. So I can tell you the top two crashes at night, again, because he came and taught my class, and so now I teach. But pedestrian crashes, because most people wear dark clothes. So, and especially at night, crossing.
Heather would die.
I would totally die.
And what's called underride crashes, where it's like if a semi truck goes in front of you, and you've got the trailer part that you go underneath it. Because here's the thing. What happens, like if you see a truck crossing, you see the headlights and all, but there's no lights on the side of the trailer. So if you think it's a normal sized truck, you think it's gone, but it's still there. And so then you get what's called an underride crash. But again, we go back to if the way to keep customers happy is to do whatever, keep them from having accidents, make the road safer, get rid of rush hour traffic, then they're going to be more responsive. The government has no reason to be that responsive.
No.
And in fact, government often does things to not be responsive to drive a different type of behavior, such as making rush hour traffic worse and worse and worse in an attempt to drive more people to using mass transit or walking to work or doing those types of things. Yeah. And yet people, even with rush hour traffic, refuse to do it.
Yep.
Flat out refuse to do it.
We're Americans. We love our cars. I mean, we love to drive. What can I say?
Well, so Heather and I have some speed dating questions for you. If you have a few more minutes.
Speed dating, okay. I'm married, but okay. This could be fun.
We still want to have just a few minute fling with you.
Pretend. Awesome.
Yay!
Okay. This is an important one.
Oh, gotcha.
Which do you prefer, dogs or cats?
Oh my gosh.
Yes! Yes!
Here's Tuxedo. You see her little tuxedo, her little white thing here. There were a couple times during the debates when I'm trying to keep the cats out of the screen. Oh no, but so I have 2 cats. I got to admit, I'm more of a cat person, but I do have a basset hound named Gertrude that I really love because basset hounds are kind of like cats. They just lie there all day and do nothing. So, I love my basset hound Gertrude.
Okay, well, just on you having a tuxedo cat, you should be president because Heather has a tuxedo cat plus another black and white, and I have a black and white.
Yes.
There you go. I'm sorry, these are lightning round, right? I can't stop being a teacher. I have to get the answer.
All right, so what's your favorite color?
Black, of course.
All right. Heather, do you want me to do a couple? Are you ready?
Do it yourself or hire it done.
Oh my gosh, I do everything myself.
Good for you.
Nice. Okay.
No, I mean, to the point of ridiculousness. I mean, like I learned how to, I went down in that late 80s to the tile store, like before the do-it-yourself shows all became popular. And I was like, okay, tell me how to use this saw. And the next thing, I'm like, tiling the countertops and the floors and stuff. I don't know what I'm doing, but anyway.
I admire that.
Okay, here's another one. Do you snore?
No, I don't.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually dainty when I sleep. That's about the only time I'm dainty. But
okay, so the 3 of us can date. We're good.
Yes.
All right, Heather, you want to go next for the next one?
What is your favorite movie?
Oh, there's only one. Monty Python and the Holy Grail, of course.
Yes!
Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and then all the other movies. Nothing else.
Oh my Lord, I love you.
See, now, Life of Brian, for me, slightly edges out because, cake or death. You can't go wrong with cake or death.
But some call me Tim or, just a flesh wound. I mean, we could go on.
I love that. All right. If you have friends coming over for dinner, what do you either make or buy?
I have not eaten red meat in 30 years. Ooh. So, 25 years, technically. 25 years I haven't eaten red meat. So not meat. In fact, when I first started dating my husband, he came over and I have all these decorative jars with like beans and grains and stuff. And he's like, "What's this?" And I said, "This is my food." And he said, "That's not food. That's what food eats." So, yeah, I would give them something that food eats.
Nice.
I like that. Okay. What would you take with you to a desert island? Ooh. So say
besides suburban. Another person, definitely. That would be the first on my list.
Because we've all kind of been on a desert island, right? Not lately, it seems like.
Yeah. Yes.
We are kind of living on our own little desert islands. So if you had to be someone else for a day,
who
would you pick to be?
Well, I guess President Trump, so I could fix this mess, huh? I would get rid of the efficacy requirements with the FDA. I'd let everybody out of their homes. Yeah.
And would you fix his hair?
Holy the deal is, I'd want to just know. I'd look at it.
Like on your way out, you'd be like, "All right, we're going to just do a little something."
Fix it.
Well, I'm not exactly the most fashion conscious person, so there's I don't have much room to talk.
You are. You are way above, especially with those stunning earrings. Don't think I haven't noticed the earrings. Those are damn fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Heather, go for it.
Okay, let's see. What would be your ideal holiday destination if you could go somewhere?
I think Alaska, because I've never been there, and I don't know. I miss the snow, but I did hear a study back in like the 80s that, you know how advertisers do studies because they want to know which shows to what to advertise on what shows, and they found out that news junkies, which I've always been a news junkie, they're more likely to vacation in Alaska than other people. And I thought, well,
I bet. I bet. So Pat Barnum says that I need to send you the porcupine earrings that I make.
Oh yeah.
I make chandelier earrings that are all little porcupines.
They're super cute.
I will send you a pair.
Me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, that would be awesome. Or you could give them to me in Orlando, but if you want to mail them, that would be great.
Either way, I'm good either way, because like Heather and I have an Airbnb. We're going to Orlando no matter what.
No matter what.
Cool.
We'll have our own convention if we have to.
Exactly. It'll be the Kara and Heather convention.
Somewhere out in the parking lot, huh? Some hotel.
Yeah, exactly. So this may be similar to a different question because of your answer, but what makes you laugh?
Oh gosh, dry humor, like Monty Python kind of dry humor.
I like that.
I'm not much for physical humor, and okay, in a lot of ways, I'm not. I'm not very feminine. And by the way, here, would you like to learn a little science here?
Yeah.
Psychology. So typically women, most women, their index finger is longer than their ring finger. However, women who have a longer ring finger, which mine is quite a bit longer, were exposed to more testosterone in the womb, and they tend to be better at like math and science and all that kind of stuff.
Mine is just slightly
it looks longer. Yes.
Just so
stare at this all night.
On my left hand it's more.
Yeah, so where I was headed with this, even though I have many masculine traits like math and science, and heck, being a libertarian back when there weren't any women in the party.
You trailblazed.
I'm not much for like the Three Stooges male kind of physical humor. I'm not much for that.
Nah.
I don't do the slapstick either, and I'm also not like an Adam Sandler.
Oh yeah, no. Although I did like that one movie with him and Drew Barrymore with the Red Sox.
Yes, that was actually cute. That was very adorable.
Especially being from Chicago, them winning is like the Cubs winning. So I totally got it. I totally got the movie.
I love
in
that.
Fact, back when I lived near Chicago, back in the the Chicago paper, when the Cubs were doing well, one of the columnists said, Cubs fans just don't know how to act. It's like their team is winning. Like they're kind of almost sad. Like, what do we do now? Our team is winning.
They're all puzzled. They're like, wait a minute, I'm feeling a strange sensation.
Right.
I don't know how to process this.
Right. But that's long before the night lights. So.
All right, Heather, let the next one rip.
If you won the lottery, what is the first thing that you would do or buy?
I would redo, I would probably get a Maserati or a Lamborghini.
Woo! Wow.
Yeah, I'm actually right up the road here I'm literally like 20 minutes to the BMW plant. And they've got a performance track there, like a racetrack and stuff. So if you buy an M5, you actually go there and they drive you around. So I actually took a performance driving class there. In fact, every car I've bought, like my main car ever, since the very first car I ever got as a teenager, has been stick shift. Even now, it's still stick shift.
Okay, so we do have a user question.
Okay.
So TV show, best comedy.
Oh my gosh. Of course, Monty Python from the day, but
Flying Circus, yeah.
But I love The Office. My degree's in IO psychology and I have an MBA, so The Office.
So I got my dream car, and you're gonna laugh when you hear what my dream car is.
What?
It's not what you think.
I got a Honda Element. Like I just got.
Yeah, it's the boxy one.
Yeah, my husband found one for me finally. I have wanted one for so long, and my husband thinks they are the most vile, ugly cars ever. But he found one for me, and I was able to get it because an animal died in it, and it smells so bad inside that people went to buy it, and they would open the door, and they're like, "And nope," and I open the door, and I'm like, "Smells like a discount."
Yeah, smells like money.
Yeah.
There's got to, baking soda vinegar. There's got to be something.
That sucker's going to be cleaned out. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, if I can tell you quick, funny, this will be on my list like 4 years from now, 8 years from now, when they say, "Hey, Joe, tell us a funny campaign story." So my campaign manager at the time, he's now my chair, Joe Houtman, we were running late to the airport. So he had me drive, even though it was his car. And
that would be Joe.
Yeah, and I forgot it was like, I'm not used to driving automatic. And as I'm racing up to the sidewalk where the sky caps and stuff are, I go to take, I think I'm driving a stick shift.
You're going to downshift.
Oh no.
And here's the drive, and I took it out of gear, and it's like, some people say they can't drive a stick shift. I can't drive an automatic, and so when I called them later that day, I was like, "Please, Joe, tell me I didn't break your car." It did not sound good.
Oh no!
But I'm just so used to taking it out of gear and letting it coast the last few feet, and I was in such a hurry. I just reverted back to what they call dominant response.
I have race car drivers in my family, so I totally identify with that. And I appreciate women that know how to drive sports cars, know how to drive sticks. So you win.
Oh yeah. In fact, when we each got to do our little own test run, and he was doing the walkie-talkie, I could hear the guy like, "Oh, number 9 there. That's pretty fast." Like, I think they figured out this, middle-aged grandma woman, she was. But afterwards, and I admire race car drivers so much more now after that class, because our driver took us in one of the cars where they spray water on it and did like a 360. And it was kind of like a roller coaster ride. I'm in the back of the seat just giggling, like, this is fun. Yeah. Like, your stomach kind of flips. It's like, man, I wish I could do that.
All right, Heather, let's go for it.
See which one? Let's see.
12.
Next one.
Yeah.
Do you want me to skip ahead, or let's see? Do you have a party trick?
Oh, geez. I guess I better get one. Not really. My daughter and I, when she was in maybe like second grade-ish, and they had a talent show, we kind of walked away with the talent show and I got this idea from SNL. I'm not very creative, but she and I on a blank chalkboard, blank whiteboard, drew the entire map of the United States during the William Tell Overture. She did the Western half because she was like in second grade, and I did the right half. So that would have been a party trick at the time.
That's pretty impressive.
I have a party trick I can teach you.
Oh, awesome, because I need one.
I can teach you how to take someone's underwear off without them taking their pants off.
I'm not doing that.
Heather's like, no.
You can demonstrate?
Heather's like, no. You know what? When we go to Orlando,
right?
I will find a victim, and it will be demonstrated.
We can go grab my campaign manager.
And I'm sure Chrissy Witcher she's worked in a bar, because when you work in a bar, you find everyone's party trick.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I'm sure she knows some as well.
Yeah, in fact, I was actually a bartender when I went to Baylor, which largest Southern Baptist university in the world, and I was actually a bartender there my senior year. So yeah.
Oh, man.
It was fun. I enjoyed it.
Okay, so would you rather go exploring or lay on the beach?
Oh, exploring. Beach gives you wrinkles. Now, I would rather be in the ocean body surfing, and I have a bucket list of like all of 2 things, and one of them is I've never surfed like on a surfboard. I've just done like the body surfing.
Yeah.
So one of these days, I'm going to actually surf.
Very nice.
Laying on the beach, that's just boring.
No.
Well, you don't get much beach laying up in Minnesota.
No, we have a lot
beach.
of beach. We have Lake Beach.
Yeah, but you don't like during the year. You get all of like what, August 1st to the 13th, and then it's like cold.
5 days of really nice weather. But yeah, when it's really windy.
In fact, you know what I did in high school, and you'll appreciate this being where you are, because remember, I lived north of Chicago. I took, and I don't know where I got the idea from, but I took a big refrigerator box and lined it with tin foil, so that like in January, I would scrape off the snow on the patio and then lie my swimming suit out in the snow in what looked like this tinfoil lined coffin. I don't know that it worked. I didn't really get a suntan, but it was fun.
I love it. I think there was one question I saw in here that I really wanted to ask. Okay, they're going to make a movie about your life. Who do you want to play you? What actress?
Well, I mean, of course, Angelina Jolie or somebody like that. But I've been told that I look like the woman from Stranger Things, although I've never watched that show.
Like Winona Ryder?
I don't know. I think it's Mary Steenburgen, maybe. I don't know. But
I can totally see that.
But here's the thing: when I ran for VP, you guys have probably heard of? You've probably never heard of Pam Tillis, but you've probably heard of Mel Tillis, right? Country and Western star. Yeah. So, while I was on the VP trail in 1996, I had a lot of people think I was Pam Tillis. And I was in a restaurant once in Pennsylvania, and this guy came up to me, "Oh, Pam, I want your autograph." And I said, "No, I'm not who you think I am." And he goes, "Well, you could just tell me no. You don't have to lie." So anyway, look up an old picture of Pam Tillis, and that's what I look like. But
nice.
So now apparently I look like the Stranger Things lady. So I'm going to have to check out that TV show.
All right. So here's my question. You've done a lot of adventurous things, and we've heard about that. But what is the most adventurous thing that you've done?
I think moved from Chicago to go to school at Baylor. Like that was a big culture shock.
I bet.
I grew up in a very small, and I mean, I could think of, okay, here's the most adventurous thing I did. I have a pilot's license, and the plane wasn't rated for acrobatics. And my flight instructor and I did acrobatics in it, like spinning barrel rolls, which I guess wouldn't be that bad if it were an acrobatic plane, but it wasn't. So probably that.
Okay, so your adventurous is more adventurous than a lot of people.
Yeah,
more adventurous, or just a bit dim. I don't know.
I love it.
Well, this has been truly spectacular. I love that we got to talk to you about, some more serious policy issues, but also that we got to know you a little more as a person, because yes, people do want to know policy positions, but they also want to know, who is that person? Are they a good person? Do I like them? Do I feel comfortable giving my vote to them? And I hope that people do feel comfortable giving their vote to you. I mean, I'm all in. I am all in.
Well, I don't know that I've given anybody watching a reason to vote for me, since we didn't talk policy. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like inside baseball, libertarian stuff. But can I at least give my website address out?
Please do. Please give your website address. Yes.
Yes, it's JOJ2020.com. Again, that's joj2020.com. And I promise you, if you see me on other shows, I actually talk about healthcare and, bringing the troops home. So this was just, when I was told to bring my drink of choice, I knew this was going to be a different kind of show. So, and yeah, after saying, for the 8th time that day, bringing the troops home, it is kind of nice to actually talk about myself. I hate to admit that.
No, it's really good.
So thank you for allowing me.
Because people are intensely curious about you. They want to get to know you. And I do think getting to know you really energizes people to want to get involved and volunteer and donate and be a part of it, because people want to know that they're not just voting for good policy, which they are when they're voting for a libertarian, but they're voting for a good person. And
yes, well, and
definitely.
I can say, hey, I'm a teacher. They've done polls who are the most trusted, well-respected, which professions are the most trusted and well-respected, and mine's up there. So I can be trusted.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jo, and congratulations. We are proud and pleased to have you as our presidential nominee, and I cannot wait until we can officially say congratulations, Madam President.
Well, thank you. I will work hard to continue to earn your trust. I will work hard. So thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you to everybody watching, too, for your support. I really appreciate it.
We love having you. Take it easy, guys. Love ya.